Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whisky. My name's VinPF, and on today's episode, we're heading back over to Burnt House to try another brandy. Now, you may recall about a month ago, I covered their latest release. They sent me that over to kind of promote it. It was a very limited release, something like 800 bottles. I don't know how they did on that. Hopefully they did well. But during that video, I mentioned that I'd quite like to try their normal brandy. So they got in touch with me after that video and said, we'll happily send you that bottle. So, yep, here we are today. We've got that sent over from them. Now, I know a few of you said that you'd be quite happy to see me cover some brandy. So, yeah, we're covering one a month later. But don't worry if you're not into it, because this is the last brandy I've got in the queue. So we'll be back to normal whiskey-related stuff pretty soon. But I do like to cover the odd non-whiskey distilled spirit at some point as well, because I think it breaks things up and it's nice to expand out. But the point I'm making is, don't worry, I'm not going to be covering brandy or any other non-whiskey spirit at any kind of like gusto, let's say. Is that, you know, they're going to be there in the future, but it's not going to be every month, so don't worry. Now, this one here then is their Batch 001, the first release they did. This is a UK-based brand. It's a London-based brand, in fact, so they're calling it a British brandy. Now, interestingly, I'm getting some conflicting information. I didn't ask them about this. I probably could have asked them about it, but I'm not entirely sure that this was distilled by them in their current setup. I think it was maybe distilled in France and then brought over, but it kind of doesn't matter. I'm not worried about that. This one here is fairly cheap. It's 36 quid from them directly. Fluctuates up to about 40 odd depending on where you go, but the link I'll drop in the description below will be to them directly, non-affiliate, so don't worry about, you know, anything fancy like that. It's just going to go straight through to them. This one's pretty cool. So the way that they did it, I think I explained this on the last video, but just in case you missed it, the way they've set themselves up is they're obviously brandy cognac drinkers, and they've gone for a little bit of a tour around France to see what's what, and figured that they can do this, you know, and why not? I think that it's like the first British brandy house for for a good while anyway. So what they've done is they've got a brandy made from 4 different grapes, and I'm going to have to refer to notes on this because I'll massacre it otherwise. We've got Trebbiano grapes, we've got Chardonnay, we've got Sauvignon Blanc, and we've got Muscat Blanc. The last brandy that I covered was exclusively finished, whatever it was to start with, but exclusively finished in ex-bourbon cask, which is why it ended up coming through to me with the whole whiskey connection. This one here, they've gone a little bit more fancy, so this is a little bit more traditional brandy, whereas the other one was not really traditional. A good bridging brandy, I said, for whiskey drinkers, but this one goes a bit full-on brandy. So they've got 4 different cask finishes, again, referring to notes. We've got an ex-bourbon, so that obviously had bourbon in it, right? It's an American oak ex-bourbon, but it also had Spanish brandy in it, so that's a bit of an interesting mix in itself. Then they've got Pinot de Charente, it's massacre in the French language, sorry. Then ex-cognac, which is cool, and then ex-cherry liqueur, which I think kind of shines through quite a lot on this one, but we'll get into that. Yeah, let's get into it then and see what we've got, because it's an interesting one. 40%er, and as I said earlier, 36 quid. On the nose then. Now for me, it's quite fruit forward. It's extremely grape-like, grapey. Bags of raisins, and a little bit of citrus on the back end. You're also getting some serious kind of wood notes on this. It's very tannic. It's not quite leathery, tobacco-y, but very oaky. Nice. Let's try on the palate. Very different to the nose in my head. First immediate tasting note is those kind of sugar-coated cola bottles, you know, the fizzy cola bottles. Beautiful. And then something which I didn't think I would enjoy, but it's got some rye bread in it. And I don't really like rye, but for me it tastes like rye bread. And then back to the kind of fruit, oranges on the back end. Finish is actually really long, spicy, very tannic again, lots of oak coming through. Now for me, I actually prefer this. I have to say, I prefer this one to the bourbon cask. That was an interesting one. It's on the shelf over here, just off shot actually. It's an interesting one, and I really like it. But and it was reasonably good value at 60 quid. This, however, £36 this is, and I prefer it as a daily sipper for sure. I think many of you are going to find this a bargain, to be honest. Hopefully some of you bought it based on my review of the other one, but yeah, if you've been watching this and you're interested in it, I think this one's a bit of a bargain, to be honest. I'm not sure how much of this they've got or whatever, but hopefully, if you're interested in Brandy, you might go and give it a go. And again, same as I did for the last video, I caveat that with that I'm not a Brandy guy. I know what I like and what I don't like. I definitely like this. I think it's pretty good value. I've been delving into cognac a little bit, and I've been lucky enough to try some really fancy stuff, but I just don't have the money to get into another big kind of sector of spirits, so I don't really buy much of it. And I know a lot of you in the comments say I should be going to check out like Armagnac and things like that, and I do have a sample Saturday somewhat coming up when I get time to do these things, that Andrew AP Butler sent me over some samples to try, some really exceptional stuff, but I'm going to do them on a sample Saturday at some point in the future, so hopefully if he's watching, thank you. But yeah, I think, I mean, you can tell, look, a lovely bottle. One of the things I was going to leave you as well, if hopefully you're still watching, these glass topper bottle top things. I know I've seen some people on videos really struggling with this, so I'm going to give you a little bit of advice if you ever come across one of these. You can't pop these like a normal cork. You know, normally people come along and they twist it and they go, ee, 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 ee. That one came off pretty easy, but they don't always do that. The secret to this is to rock it with your thumb. You just rock it with your thumb like this, look, and off it pops. Caught it with my legs. Really easy. Just rock it and off it comes. That's it. So if you're ever struggling with those, there's your technique. There you go. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Are you going to try it? Are you going to buy it? Are you into Brandy? You want me to never cover Brandy again? Let's have a conversation about whatever you want down below. But in any case, I'm going to enjoy this, and I'll see you again on more videos soon. Cheers.